Hi everybody, it's me, Greg Manarino. I am back for my post-market wrap-up for today, Friday, November 17th, 2017. I have a lot of stuff I want to talk about here, and I'm going to try to put it together in a way that makes sense. So let's start off with this. Today, the Dow Jones Industrial Average did fall triple digits, just about 100 points. Okay, nothing crazy. Nothing to say, oh, this is it, the market's going to melt down. However, there's a few things that we need to look for in light of what Bill Gross had said yesterday. If you recall, and I spoke about this in my post-market wrap-up video that I did yesterday, Bill Gross, billionaire fund manager, believes that we are at a market top here. I kind of said I don't believe that is true at this point, but we'll have to see how it plays out. And this is what we need to look for right off the top. So today we had this sell-off with regard to the Dow Jones Industrial Average. If this bleeds off to Monday, in other words, if you have a Friday and then a Monday sell-off that follows through in the market, that could be a sign that there's a little trouble here. Now, I'm not saying that means that this is the market top. That just means that we could possibly see, finally, a pullback in this market. We have not had a meaningful pullback and as far back as I can remember here. And the market has got to burn some off. That's the truth. Now, let's talk about today's stock market action and the rigging that is going on here. Let's start with the bond market. A huge amount of buying with regard to credit-worthy debt. And you probably, hopefully, if you saw my video that I did earlier, were able to watch this on my website, on that chart I have set up for you in pretty close to real time right there. It's insane. And if you noticed, if you watched that bond market chart all day like I do, I have it open right here on my computer screen. Every time we had a little bit of a sell-off, some entity out there was buying the dips. Now, you can actually see this if you go to my website again, traderschoice.net, right side of the page, underneath the chat room. It's all there. You can see that everything went up, and as soon as it started to pull back with buying, buy, pull back, buy. It's incredible. We know who this is. It can only be traced back to one entity, and that is the Federal Reserve. Junk bonds, let's talk about that. Not too much action with regard to junk bonds, but there was action in another part of the market, and I know you're watching it. The small caps. I've been telling you about the small caps today. The small caps. Some entity out here was buying small caps all day long. To me, okay? And again, I went over this fact. If you follow the markets like I do, morning, noon, and night, month after month, year after year, you will see the same thing, especially over the past several years. They buy up the small caps first to prop up the market, and that is exactly the small caps actually put on a gain today of almost 0.5%. This is manipulation, people. They do this time and time again. They were not successful today in propping up the rest of the stock market, but they tried. They absolutely did try by buying all this debt, this credit-worthy debt. It's a joke. And propping up the small caps. You have to watch the small caps. It's really important. Now, there's something else going on I want to talk to you about. So with regard to this bond buying that we saw today, some of this may be an actual safety play. Bear with me for a moment. Generally, when you have a safety play, you're going to get cash moving into the bond market, credit-worthy. Every time I say that, I get a chill down my spine. And you see some cash move into the paper, gold and silver, the derivatives here. We also understand that the rigging with regard to the gold markets is pretty much in our face. It's public knowledge. You can just Google it. London Gold Fix, it's all over the place. Now, let me cover a few things with regard to the rigging of the gold markets. I still have not heard back from the SEC in any way, shape, or form. I did contact the New York Times today. the New York Times. I wrote directly to their newsroom. So we'll see if I hear back from the New York Times regarding this. I also heard back from Bethany McLean. I spoke about Bethany a couple of days ago when I talked about how I filed a complaint against the SEC. Bethany McLean is the woman who exposed the whole Enron thing and a lot of the corruption that we have seen with regard to the financial markets. She has been a champion of. So this is why I reached out to Bethany to say, hey, have a look at this. And she thought it was very interesting. And we're going to start to talk about this, hopefully right after Thanksgiving. And we'll wait to see if I hear back from the New York Times. Again, I sent a letter directly to the New York Times. We'll see how that plays out moving forward. So look, let me just put this all together real quick. The sell-off today could be the beginning of a pullback here. I don't believe still, as of yet, that this is a market top. I have to see more evidence first. You know, Bill Gross said, thinks it's a market top. I'm not convinced yet. If we see a follow-through come Monday, so Friday sell-off into a Monday sell-off, we'll talk about it at that point, but I have to watch all of these dynamics. It's not just the stock market that we're looking at here. You know that. We need to be literally focusing like lasers on what the bond market is doing. But if you've been following my work since day one, which is probably nearly a decade now, I've been telling all of you to watch the bond market. The bond market is the main player here, the main entity that world central banks have chosen to manipulate, to artificially suppress these interest rates, causing bubbles to form everywhere. And that's what we're seeing now. So, you know, like I said, I've been saying this, you got the rigging of the debt market, you got the rigging in our face of the gold markets and the stock market as well. Who, let me ask you, in a market that's kind of falling under a little bit of pressure here, who do you think is out here trying to buy up all the small caps? You tell me. I know I wouldn't touch this stuff in this market right now. There's no way. But somebody out here, and they do it time and time again, is buying up the small caps here. We do not have a real market at all. It is an absolutely rigged and managed market, people. So we have to follow a few dynamics here. Let's see what happens on Monday. Let's watch the fakery occurring in the bond market. You gotta keep your eye on that. And I could not make this easier for you. It's right on my website. Go look at the chart there when you get a minute. You're gonna see what I'm talking about. You got buying, buying, buying. Soon as we get a little bit of a dip here, buy, buy, buy again. Oh, no, buy, buy, buy again. It's incredible. Who's buying bonds right here like this? It just does not make any sense from a rational standpoint. So, you know, I wish someone would trace this back. This is all being done through dark pools. There's no way to trace this. So, no one can look into it. It's an incredible thing. But this is how they have this whole thing set up. There's no doubt about it. Now, with regard to the safety play, I know I'm running off the mouth here, but you have to pay attention to these things. Gold and silver did gain today. They're going to find a way to squash these. You know it. They rig it. The London Gold Fix. Those major banks, they decide on what price they want to start the trading around with regard to the spot price. They say, okay, you know, let's start the trading around here, and then we're going to play with it. We'll stimulate trading on this side, and then we'll try to do it on the other side, and that's how they manage to rig it. It's so simple. So we're going to see this moving forward. The dollar, I forgot to mention that. The dollar is today, again, remaining in its downward trajectory. That also is playing into what we're seeing with regard to gold and silver. But there could be a little bit of a safety play in here. And we'll see if Bill Gross was right with this being a market top. Like I said, I can't say that yet. I'm not convinced of it because I still believe they're going to use this as a political tool. They're doing everything they can to try to prop it back up by buying bonds, by buying those small caps. They're hoping the rest of the market's, it's going to build confidence here in the market, and the stock market will continue higher. But we'll have to see how that plays out. Hey, today is Friday. I am taking the weekend off. I really am. I'm going to try to disconnect from all this stuff, and I hope you do too. So have a nice, happy, safe weekend, and we're going to talk about all this come Monday morning. And I cannot wait till Monday. I really can't, because if we start to see this market sell off on Monday, that's going to raise some flags, and we're going to have to see what they try to do. Are they going to get back in there and start buying small caps? Are they going to start manipulating tech, which is what they always do? It's the small caps, then the tech. And let's see what they do here with regard to the bond market. Is it going to be like a mass a buying spree right at the market open? I would not be surprised. With that said, I'll see you all Monday. Have a great weekend. Over and out.